Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Friday. Hey, baby. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I'm great. I'm fantastic, and I appreciate everybody tuning in on a Friday. Kind of excited for the weekend. That'll be kind of nice to have one of those coming up. Also, it's kind of exciting because our guest today, if you've ever watched Bourne Identity, or if you've watched Mr. and Mrs. Smith, or any of those, we've got the executive producer of those, and he's got a new program on National Geographic Channel that sounds really exciting. It's called I Am Rebel. It premieres this Sunday, and we're going to be visiting with Doug Liman later in the program today. Got a fun story here. Clarence Stuckey recently called the local power company to report an outage. He realized that he might as well have just turned himself in. You see, Clarence wired up a bypass to get free electricity, and his plan has worked for 60 years.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, Clarence did this 60 years ago. The statute of limitations only allows them to charge him for the last 7 years, but that amounts to $82,000.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, the Logan Light and Power Company spotted Clarence's handiwork when they came out to fix the outage at his home. The company said they did not want to put him in jail, but they wanted to recoup their loss. So, there you go.
How can it be? You can't tell me his electric bill was that high every month.
Well, $82,000
that it would be $82,000
over
7 years? No way.
Well, I'm sure there's fines on there for breaking the law, too. I don't know how it works. Got some special stuff going on today. We'll tell you about that in a bit.
John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
It is Friday, the 3rd day of June. Today is Chimborazo Day.
Chimborazo?
Yeah, I don't know what that is. It sounds delicious, though.
It does sound delicious. It sounds like
I'll have
something
a
sweet.
Chimborazo
with like sugar on it.
with extra chocolate? I have no idea. It was probably something disgusting. It's Donut Day, and you don't want to mess up Donut Day. It's
don't want to blow Donut Day.
Horseradish Days begins today.
Okay.
I've never had horseradish. I've people that love it. I just can't do it. I got the smell. I'm like, after smelling it, I don't want to try it. It is Mike the Headless Chicken Day. It is Positive Power of Humor and Creativity Day as well. And there's a couple of those, so they begin today. So there you go. A couple of things to celebrate. I think you should celebrate by having a donut, or you could celebrate by having a horseradish. I doubt you're going to celebrate
donut.
I doubt you're going to celebrate by having both, because that just sounds yucky. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
Whether you're an experienced shooter or someone new to self-defense, Front Sight Firearms Training Institute has a course for you. You may recognize Front Sight from their reality TV show filmed at this private range 45 minutes west of Las Vegas. A Diamond lifetime membership is $15,000, but we have a special price of just $3,000 available now only at radiosavings.com. This lifetime membership allows you to take over 50 courses as often as you'd like at Front Sight Firearms Training Institute. Get this deal right now at radiosavings.com.
You know it's true because you heard it on the radio when a Michigan man let his 2 dogs out of his house. They began chasing something, and they ran across his property into the neighbor's property. So he said, "Get back here, dogs." They didn't listen. He ran after them. When he did that, he crossed into the neighbor's property, stepped into a hole, and injured himself.
Oh.
So he decided, I've got a broken leg. Sorry, neighbor, but I need to sue you for negligence. He didn't get very far, though. Believe it or not, the court dismissed this case, saying that since the man was trespassing without permission, the owner of the property was not required to make sure that all the holes were filled and that he was safe from falling in a hole.
Wow.
So, isn't that crazy? And that's good. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. But I remember reading a story not so long ago about a person who...
A burglar who was on somebody's roof trying to break in.
Fell through a skylight.
Fell through the...
Sued them and won.
And he won.
And there was another one where a guy broke into somebody's house, broke into their home through the garage, came in through the garage.
Got locked in the garage.
Had to eat dog food for a weekend because they were gone.
And he won.
He won a ton of money. I was like...
A ton of money.
So when I read this story, this was actually going to be part of our scoop of the day, but I said, I'm going to put this where we have time to talk about this a little bit more, because
this one, though, you would think their property insurance would have covered that. That's what property insurance is for.
But it's
not like he was trying to break into their house.
No, he ran into the yard without permission. So I think if this were to happen in a different district, it might have had a different outcome. But the court in this district said, no, you didn't even have permission to be there. You're going to sue this guy for having a hole in his yard that you weren't even supposed to be in? Get out of my courtroom. So it's interesting how each judge that looks at this
Right.
will probably see that in a different light. But I thought it was fascinating. And by the way, this happened
But to
in
sue
Michigan.
them personally, he should have been going after the insurance
Well, I'm
company.
sure that he
is what should have
was.
been doing.
I'm sure that he was. Either way, it happened in Michigan, and now you know that's what happens there. So the same thing happened in other places. I think it probably would have had a different outcome. That is an interesting story, and you know that it's true because you heard it on the radio.
John and Heidi.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by the Keystone Treatment Center.
This is your brain, and this is your brain on drugs. We share silly stories here on the program, but addiction is no joke. If you or someone you know suffers with an addiction to drugs or alcohol, make today the day you seek help.
Call toll-free 844-204-1055.
That's a toll-free number. Again,
844-204-1055.
and this is your brain on drugs. Today we're going to talk about a grown-up version of hide and seek. Mitchell Travis Welsh. He was being held on drug and grand theft auto charges, and he made a break for it at the courthouse. He was able to elude the bailiff and jump into a waiting vehicle. He was gone for 2 days, kind of, sort of. Anyone that's ever played in hide and seek will tell you it's all about the hiding spot. Guess where he was hiding?
Where?
In his own home. He went home. They didn't even look there. He's on the run. There's no way he'd go home. Well, he did. He was there for 2 full days. It wasn't until 2 days later, a massive manhunt. We're looking for this man. And one of the neighbors called the police and said, I think he's at his house right next to me. He's home. Where are you guys even looking? They're like, well, we never thought to look at his home. So there you go. He had drug-related charges. That's why he's in this segment. But I almost wonder if the person with their brain on drugs might be the people looking for him in this one. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
This story might make you cringe and is kind of a disgusting story and almost unbelievable that this is even possible. But an unidentified man, this happened in Ohio, by the way, walked into a police station with a 9-inch wire sticking out of his forehead.
Oh.
He calmly asked the police to give him an X-ray to help him find his brain. Not kidding. You can't make this up.
What?
He claimed somebody has stolen my brain. And they said, what happened to your forehead? And that is when he said, I drilled a hole in my forehead with a Black & Decker power drill. And I stuck this wire
word.
in trying to find my missing brain. He did this to himself.
Oh, my word.
He drilled a hole in his forehead, took a 9-inch wire. It was poked in 6 inches deep, so it was sticking out 3 inches.
Oh.
If my math is correct.
He's
And
lucky to be
I know.
alive.
How is that possible? He clearly
Could you
wasn't
imagine
using...
taking a drill to your own scalp?
No, he clearly wasn't using his
Oh,
brain
my
when he did that.
God.
But he was looking for his missing brain. All right, we've got your scoop of the day on the way.
The Scoop of the Day is brought to you by Wells Blue Bunny. If you want delicious ice cream, be sure to look for the Blue Bunny. Sure to have your favorite flavors. Learn more at bluebunny.com.
Now, your scoop of the day. Wisconsin's Senate approved a measure that would allow grocery stores to serve free samples of beer.
Awesome.
Up to 6 ounces of shoppers. They have to show that they're legal age, but they can now serve 6
Up
ounces
to
of
6
beer.
ounces?
6 ounces of beer. Heidi's moving to Wisconsin. It's like, well, hello, Wisconsin. I wonder if you have to live in that state or if you could just go visit every Saturday during the free sample time. Time for yum-yums. The thief who committed hundreds of hotel burglaries in Britain was paid $6,000 to leave the United Kingdom under a voluntary reparation plan. And he was back stealing in Britain again the very next day.
Wow.
Go steal somewhere else. They paid him to leave. They said, you know what? I'm sick and tired of all these stupid fines that you're getting, and we're going to give you $6,000. It was probably 6,000 pounds.
Which is a lot. It was way more than U.S. dollars.
Just to get him to leave. So that'd be like $12,000, or maybe not quite that much, but $9,000 at least. And he was in Britain stealing again the next day. You have money now. Why are you stealing? A would-be thief.
That's pretty stupid on their part. He's a criminal. You think he's going to take your money and really do what he said he was going to
Doubt
do?
it. Hey, a would-be thief thought he was stealing a bag of cash from a Mickey D's employee at a fast food restaurant in Paris. The burglar approached the night manager as she was locking up and she was holding a bag that he thought was full of money. He thought. He was wrong. It was filled with a bunch of cold, and they were supposed to be thrown in the trash, chicken McNuggets. They were garbage McNuggets that hadn't gotten used. They were going to be thrown away, and she thought, I'll take them home to my dog. So instead, a burglar stole them from her. He got away with about a dozen cold McNuggets. You know, if you got to go to prison for something like that, I just imagine this guy's got to go to jail for that, and that's why he's there. What'd you get arrested for? Stealing some leftover McNuggets. Hey, a victim told the court in Salzburg, Austria, that she had not come across such a well-mannered criminal in a long time. I think we talked about this.
I think we did too.
Yeah, so I'm going to skip that. There was a little old lady that got robbed. A 27-year-old man robbed her, and then he came back and apologized. So she didn't want to press charges. So that's the story. Raymond Green was charged with breaking and entering, even though he didn't steal anything. He had a friend who wanted to have his head shaved. So for some reason, they decided, I don't want to do this here. It's going to make a mess. Let's go to my neighbor's front porch.
Oh, my God.
So they go to the neighbor's front porch. Why the neighbor's? Because they had a place to plug in the electric razor. So they get to the neighbor's porch, and it's getting dark out. So they said, well, we need some light. And that's where they opened the front door, didn't take anything, reached in and turned on the light. But the people inside the home heard the noise, and they said, I don't know what's going on. There's somebody here. They called the police. The police show up. There's a man attempting to shave another man's head on the front porch of a home that neither of them live in. So no word on whether or not they let him finish shaving the head. Otherwise, this guy's got a partially shaven head while he's going to jail. Again, I can only imagine how funny that would look. Now, we quit doing the strange laws because I was getting to a point where
repetitive.
Well, I was getting to a point where I think I had almost exhausted all of them, but I found a few that I don't think that we've read. There is a hot market for used bridges in the United States. There's a hot market for used bridges in the United States. A 15-year-old federal law requires that states have to offer any bridge with historical or architectural value, they have to offer it for sale before they tear it down. In Pennsylvania alone, they've sold 300 of these bridges. What are you going to do with a bridge?
Well,
I'm not exactly sure where you'd put it.
That's not even the problem. I mean, I could see wanting the stone or something from it so you could do something with it at your house, but could you imagine having to be the one to go tear it down? Because I'm sure they're not going to tear it down for you.
Yeah, you can have it. You just got to remove it. I don't know. People pulling up, what's the deal with the construction? And why is there a guy parked here with just a little tiny pickup and a sledgehammer? This is going to take all summer. One other strange law. New York passed a law creating a crime premedicated arbicide. It's the willful mistreatment and destruction of trees. If you go and trash somebody's tree, you can get a $15,000 fine or a year in prison for mistreating a tree.
Where is that?
New York. That's a new state law in New York.
That doesn't surprise me.
Premeditated arbicide is what it's called. So there you go. A couple of strange laws.
Arbicide.
Yeah.
Leave it to a New York to come up with a word like that.
It's arbicide. Oh,
good
you're
Lord.
killing these poor little trees. No, I'm not saying you should torture trees, but I just think it's interesting that they made a law like that. All right, that's going to do it for your Scoop of the Day.
John and Heidi.
This has been quite an election so far, and we've got a long ways to go. Stay informed at politicalstorm.com. It's a cool site with political news and information on the campaigns, plus a place to chime in and have a say in what you think. If you're into politics, you need to check out politicalstorm.com. Get informed from several different sources all in one place. Listen to podcasts like mine and learn about current election topics, read fun editorials, and engage your brain. It's your country. It's your vote. It's your voice. Politicalstorm.com. That's politicalstorm.com.
John and Heidi.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Friday. We've got a special guest joining us right now, Executive Producer Doug Liman from the Bourne Identity, Suits, Covert Affairs. He's got a new program called IAmRebel, and it's on National Geographic Channel, and we're going to be chatting with him about this, and it premieres this Sunday, and we've got him on the line right now. How are you, Doug?
Hi, how are you?
Fantastic. We're excited to, first of all, to chat with you here, but also excited to hear about this new program, IAmRebel. How long have you been working on this?
Longer than you would think. But actually this one came together really quickly because it's just sometimes you have a show and it just clicks and it's awesome and it all falls into place. In the case of IAmRebel, it's a documentary series on National Geographic that starts this Sunday. each week we profile a different rule breaker from a different point in our history. And these are like wild, outrageous characters. They say, truth is stranger than fiction. And, whether, this weekend, Sunday night, people will see an episode about Lewis Moore, who was an African-American who hijacked an airplane in the 70s and forever changed the way airport security is handled, something that, people will probably be begrudging this summer as they wait in those crazy long TSA lines.
Yeah.
We go into, that's in the 70s, we go to when, planes are being hijacked on a regular basis, and it's, I come from a world of action movies, so, diving into, what it would feel like to hijack an airplane and go through that experience and see it through the eyes of Lewis Moore, who's I have a soft place in my heart for rule breakers. If you look at my feature films, Jason Bourne's a rule breaker, Mr. and Mrs. Smith are rule breakers, Tom Cruise and Edge of Tomorrow is a rule breaker. I don't do traditional heroes. I tend to love the outliers. A week later, we're going to go into the 1930s, Prohibition era New York City, and follow a crime scene photographer named Ouija, who was a complete outlier because he was the first person to sort of be interested in photographing murder scenes.
Yeah.
And he's a very dark person, but forever changed the way news became entertainment after him. So when you think about tabloids today and the kind of ratings wars for news programs, it started with Ouija and his obsession with murders, and there were plenty of murders in New York City in the 1930s because of Prohibition. And then we go the following week to Alexander Shulgin, who is a chemist, who was a esteemed chemist, and whose company allowed him to experiment on psychedelic drugs because he was so successful with his sort of more commercial products for them. And he invented MDMA and got involved in the military and testing these psychedelic drugs during the Cold War. And that takes us into the 1960s, and then we go to the 80s and into the beginning of hacking with Kevin Mitnick, who's the first dark side hacker who gets recruited by the FBI to work on the good side. And so each week we're going into the world of these guys who just are total rule breakers and who I love.
Again, visiting right now with Doug Liman, and he's got a new program called I Am Rebel, premiering this Sunday, June 5th at 9/8 Central on National Geographic Channel. As you were preparing for this, and again, with your background, working with Bourne Identity and Suits, Covert Affairs, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, all of these action movies, when they said, hey, we got an idea for a documentary, did you go, oh, yeah, I'm the guy to call for documentaries? But the thing that's neat is this is a different kind of documentary, isn't it?
Yeah, this is documentary, you might as well call Bourne Identity a documentary, because that is, it feels documentary-esque in its reality. So, and actually, the reality is that Bourne Identity is based on a lot of factual events that actually took place in this country.
Oh, wow.
And so I've always been drawn to drawing my material from real people, real events. The villain in Bourne Identity is actually a real historical character from our own country. And so in the case of I Am Rebel, I got to sort of tackle the kind of characters I was going to anyhow for my movies and basing my fictional movie characters on. I could actually just show the real person. And the reason my films have been so successful is because these are really compelling characters. And especially because, there is something incredibly compelling about these dark people who don't fit into their own time, but who, I don't know. I've always just been drawn to people who don't follow the rules. Maybe because I never did myself.
That makes it a little more fun, doesn't it?
They're way more fun, and the stories, because I do come from making action movies. These stories are all loaded with action, and it was a chance to recreate. This Sunday people will see Lewis Moore hijacking an airplane in the 70s, and get taken to a time when airplanes were being hijacked on a regular basis and experience, firsthand what it would be like to hijack an airplane.
Wow.
And that's the Doug Liman take on hijacking. I'm not really interested in the law enforcement side of how you stop a hijacking. I'm much more interested in how would you hijack an airplane yourself.
So as you were putting this together, again, with your background working in fictitious movies for the most part, where you can kind of write the story however you want to make the scene awesome, when you're working on something historically accurate, saying, okay, we're recreating what really happened, did you feel more constrained by that, or did you feel like, you know what, this is kind of cool, this is what really happened?
What really happened is almost always cooler than anything you could invent.
Yeah.
When I created the Bourne Identity series, I actually based it on work my father had done investigating Iran-Contra for the U.S. Senate. And everything I found about what really went on with the CIA was so much more fascinating than anything I ever saw in a movie. And I kind of had this epiphany that, real life just is better than anything we could make up. It's more dramatic, and you think about what's going on in the world today. I mean, Hollywood couldn't make up a more dramatic presidential race situation than is what's currently happening.
And that's the thing. If they would have made a movie about this election a year ago, nobody would have believed it. They would have said, whatever, that would never happen. But it's happening.
And, and Trump is appealing because, again, he's an outlier.
Yeah.
He is not conforming to the rules. And I Am Rebel is all about people who just refused to conform to the rules and did things their way. I mean, obviously, this Sunday people are going to see someone hijacking an airplane. He's clearly not conforming to the rules. But even a week later, when you follow Ouija, who's, going into the darkest recesses of Prohibition-era New York to photograph the most gruesome murder scenes, these are not guys who are doing things, quote-unquote, the right way.
Yeah. Again, our guest today is Doug Liman, and he's got a new program called I Am Rebel. It is going to be on the National Geographic Channel. Doug, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us. I know you got a lot of people you need to talk to now, so I don't want to take any more of your time. Thank you again for spending some time with us.
No, I hope you guys enjoy the show this weekend. It's really, and the weeks to follow, because I'm incredibly proud of it.
Well, we're real excited about it. Again, the program is called I Am Rebel. Premieres this Sunday, June 5th, 9/8 Central on the National Geographic Channel. Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Friday.
John and Heidi.
Do you buy lottery tickets? Maybe you wait till the jackpot is big, then you buy one. I was like that too. Like my odds got better because the jackpot was more. Well, I think I found something that actually will give me a better chance to win. It's called Lotto-licious. I learned about this from Richard Lustig. He literally wrote the book on how to win the lottery, and he should know. He's a 7-time lottery game grand prize winner. Richard plays and endorses Lotto-licious, and I just signed up too. I'd love it if you join Richard and I. You can play Powerball and Mega Millions without even going to the store. Sign up right now at RadioLottopool.com.
John and Heidi.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The Statue of Liberty's mouth is 3 feet wide.
Really?
Yeah. If you've ever wondered, how wide is that mouth? Well, now you know.
I've never
3
wondered,
feet.
but that's pretty cool. She would need a big push-up.
A big push-up? What is a
If
push-up?
she was going to eat a push-up,
Oh.
it would have to be a big one.
Yeah, 3 feet, apparently. The average... I don't know why you would, of all things, say push-up. The average medium-sized piano...
Corn dog be better?
I don't know. The average medium-sized piano has about 230 strings. Yeah. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The hump of a really famished camel can flop over and hang down on the side of the camel's body as the fat is used up. Because there's fat in there that they use to burn while they're in the desert. And as that gets used up, it's just a big flap of skin hanging on the side of the camel. Something's broken on my camel. Fun fact for you,
That's
Heidi.
what I look like when I'm laying on my back. You wake up in the morning, you're like, you must be thirsty.
She's just a really tired camel. That's all. That's what's going on here. All right. And our final fun fact for you. I had many more, but we didn't get to those. Final fun fact for you. Americans, believe it or not, throw away enough office paper and writing paper annually to build a wall 12 feet high stretching from New York to Los Angeles in
That's
1 year.
Arbicide.
We throw away enough office and writing paper every year to build a 12-foot high wall from New York to Los Angeles. So there you go. Speaking of walls, maybe that's what they could build a wall out of. Right? Got some paper. I don't know if that's going to work. It's going to do it for your fun fact on a Friday.
Whether you're an experienced shooter or someone new to self-defense, Front Sight Firearms Training Institute has a course for you. You may recognize Front Sight from their reality TV show filmed at this private range 45 minutes west of Las Vegas. A Diamond lifetime membership is $15,000, but we have a special price of just $3,000 available now only at radiosavings.com. This lifetime membership allows you to take over 50 courses as often as you'd like at Front Sight Firearms Training Institute. Get this deal right now at radiosavings.com.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Friday. How to get rid of annoying body problems. These are some life hacks right here from MSN. Waterlogged ears. You ever get that when like you've been swimming and you got water in your ears? Here's the tip. It says tilt your head and find an angle that will let the water drain out.
That's a great tip.
Holding, now if you'll listen to the rest of it, holding a hairdryer a few inches from your ear, because that'll help dry the fluid, but be sure to use the gentlest setting. You don't want it to blow too hard. Next, hiccups. You ever get the hiccups?
Yes.
You know how to get rid of them?
You plug your nose and drink water.
It says here, well-worn remedies like drinking a glass of water upside down or holding your breath can help. Many of these cures actually seem to work by disrupting your breathing cycle in a way that allows the diaphragm to relax and stop the hiccuping spasms. Dry mouth. You ever get that? You know what their tip is there? Drink more water. Do you think? Really? It says chewing sugar-free gum or sucking on a sugarless hard candy also helps. Blisters. If you get a blister, the best thing you can do for your blister is what? Quit working so you don't get blisters? These tips are terrible so far. First of all, they say leave it alone. If you poke
don't pop it. I tell you that all the time. You're always popping your blisters.
I do. It says if you must pop a blister, make sure your hands are clean and use a sterile needle. And then just let the fluid out, but don't rip that skin off. I do that too. I use the fingernail clippers and clip it all the way off. I'm like, I'm just done with that. Those things drive me nuts. Sneezing. If you get like a fit where you're sneezing, it says you need to think carefully about when they're happening because you might be allergic to something. Dust, pollen, animal dander, whatever. But there's no tip there on what to do. So just think about why I'm sneezing, apparently, is what you should do. You ever get a stiff neck?
Yes.
Be aware of your posture. If it's in a work environment in the office, make sure your desk and chair and keyboard and all of that are positioned to let you work comfortably. Because if you're in a position where you're not comfortable, you're going to get that. Chapped lips. You ever get those?
Yes.
Licking your lips makes it worse. Frequent application of lip balm will shield the delicate skin on your lips and help them heal. Charley horses. You ever get a Charley horse?
Not very often. Not as often as you do.
I get them all the time. It says every now and then. It's not a big thing. Don't be too concerned. It says try eating more foods with potassium like avocados. Never had one in my life. And bananas. I'm not a big fan. Be sure you're hydrating.
Charley horse.
Yeah, probably why. Make sure you're hydrating adequately before workouts. Wait a minute. I don't do workouts. And that's going to do it for the tips. They have many more, but we are out of time, and these are not all that exciting. So I'll just throw this entire list on our Facebook page if you want to see them. Facebook.com/John and Heidi Show.
Hey, this is Tim from Hope and Faith Machine Works. Are you having one of these days?
How in the world am I going to do that?
Or even,
if I could just have this, my life would be so much easier.
Well, this kind of stuff is my specialty. At Hope and Faith Machine Works, we work with anyone who needs something built, fabricated, or just done right. We've done medical, industrial, PLC, and prototype designs. You can reach us at yourhopeourfaith.com. That's yourhopeourfaith.com.
A bottle of wine has caused a supermarket to be sued. This is the dumbest lawsuit I've ever heard of in my life.
And
I've heard of some dumb ones.
Let's see.
United Kingdom, man. So this happens in Britain or England, however you want to say it. They're all the same place. Many different names for the same place. He's demanding to be compensated by a supermarket and is taking them to court because he claims that a bottle of wine that he purchased from the store has ruined his relationship with his would-be girlfriend. He says the woman did not like the wine, so she got up in the middle of our date and left because of the wine.
I don't think that's proper. She might use the wine as an excuse.
It's probably because you're the kind of person who would sue a supermarket over somebody leaving a date and blame it on the wine. Maybe that's why she got up and left in the middle of this date.
Yeah.
Does this guy sound like an exciting chap or what?
And you know what? If she is the kind of girl who's going to leave because you didn't pick out the perfect bottle of wine, you don't want to be in a relationship with her anyway. So really, you should be paying them because the grocery store did you a favor.
Either way, both of you have dodged the bullet. If she reads this story, she's like, wow, he was really into me. He's suing the supermarket about this.
It's ridiculous.
Maybe I should give him a second chance. All right, going to talk about Google and stuff here in a bit.
John and Heidi.
New research shows Googling things can be bad for your health, depending on what those things are. Doctors say, here's where the danger comes in. People get sick. They get a sniffle. They get something. They start looking up symptoms online. And USA Today says that many people do that, and they often stop at the first message board that they come across rather than going to an actual medical site. And they start thinking they have whatever it is that other people were having. Doesn't mean that you really have it.
And then they freak themselves out and they get really sick.
Doctors say most people know that eventually they need to see a doctor if their symptoms continue to be a problem. But they say it's important to note self-diagnosis from unreliable websites is actually bad for you. There are people who come in going, well, I thought I had this, but now I'm really bad. They're like, why didn't you come in here? Well, I went on this message board. I Googled it, and this is what I had. Yeah, don't do that. If you're sick, go see a physician. That's probably a good idea.
Doctors must hate the internet.
Oh, well, I don't know if they hate it. I think there's probably some things about it they like. But, yeah, I think that there are issues where people go, well, I'm the kind of guy, I don't like going to the doctor. I'm like, I'll walk it off. You're like, it's a broken leg. You're not going to walk it off.
We've both walked off.
We did break a broken ankle. She didn't. So did I. We both walked it off. Later, they're like, when did you break your ankle? I'm like,
And now, even though we're young, the weather starts to turn. We're like, oh,
getting ready to rain.
I can feel it in my ankle. We probably should have fixed those properly.
Yeah, I saw that. We do the weather on the John and Heidi Show by just holding our ankle. Yeah, there's rain in the forecast. All right. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Friday.
John and Heidi.
This has been quite an election so far, and we've got a long ways to go. Stay informed at politicalstorm.com. It's a cool site with political news and information on the campaigns, plus a place to chime in and have a say in what you think. If you're into politics, you need to check out politicalstorm.com. Get informed from several different sources all in one place. Listen to podcasts like mine and learn about current election topics, read fun editorials, and engage your brain. It's your country. It's your vote. It's your voice. Politicalstorm.com. That's politicalstorm.com. If you've ever felt lightheaded or dizzy from standing up too quickly, have you ever had that happen?
Yes.
Listen to this. According to a new study, you might be more likely to suffer from heart failure. If that doesn't scare the bejesus out of you, I don't know what will, because that's bad. Yeah. I've had that happen to me, too.
I have no doubt that that's what's going to take me. I'm pretty sure.
I'm not saying what. I'm saying when.
It's just a matter of time, really.
We don't know when it is.
With blood pressure over 200.
Perfect
it's
picture
just a
of
matter
health.
of time.
I don't know what you're talking about. So again, it says if you're ever feeling lightheaded or dizzy from standing up too quickly, according to this new study, you might be more likely to suffer from heart failure. The lightheaded rush some people experience when they go up from lying or sitting or standing up, to standing up, is caused by a rapid drop in blood pressure, also known as let me pretend like we didn't slow down there. Also known, Heidi, as orthostatic hypotension. Think I got that right?
Probably.
It says hypotension, not hypertension.
Okay.
So there you go. Orthostatic hypotension appears to be related to the development of heart failure, along with other conditions known to cause heart failure. The study author is Dr. Christine DeYoung-Jones, and they're saying that, hey, they're checking into this, but so far it really seems to have some sort of correlation.
I don't doubt that a bit.
So if you stand up and you get a little bit lightheaded or dizzy, they're saying you might want to just be a little more careful in life because you are a little more prone to having heart failure, which is not good stuff. So, you know what? I do have some good news to share because that was kind of a downer. That's why we always save something good for the end of the program. As we're getting close to that, I've got some good news. We're going to share that with you in a bit on The John and Heidi Show. This portion of The John and Heidi Show is brought to you by The John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying The John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Friday. We are a married couple, this beautiful woman that works with me. The two of us have been married for quite some time. And I'd say we have a pretty darn good marriage, don't you?
I think so,
No,
yes.
we have arguments from time to time. I always let her win, so it works out nice.
I like that. It works for me.
It does.
Also doesn't hurt at all that I'm always right. So
you don't even deny it, that is the coolest part right there. I always let her win. She's like, yeah, that's good. Anyway, I have for you 9 thoughts that can change your marriage. Now, these are not things that I came up with. I'll put this entire list on our website. We're going to see if my wife and I agree with this.
All right.
This is from Focus on the Family. So these 9 thoughts that can change your marriage. Thought 1, my husband or my wife is my neighbor, and I'm supposed to love my neighbor as myself, which includes my husband or my wife. So do you agree with that?
Well,
you're supposed to love...
Hopefully, we're supposed to love each other differently than we love our neighbors. So otherwise, there's a whole different set of issues there.
Thought number 2, my husband can't make me mad. We can choose... We can choose how we think and respond when our husband angers us or wife angers us. So they're saying, hey, you can't make me mad. Only I can get mad if I choose to be mad. I don't know about that. That'd be a toughie. Number 3, and they all say my husband, but you can put wife in there.
And you can't make me have a bad day.
I know that song.
It's from Bernie the Bunny.
It is the Bernie the Bunny show. That's an awesome show. It's a rabbit puppet TV program. We've been on it. It's a cool program. Thought 3, my husband was not put on this earth to make me happy. I need to look upward to God for joy. So they're saying, I'm not here to make you happy, but I think I am, really. Thought 4, I can't mold my husband into my image. We need to accept our husbands as he was created. Again, you put wife in there too if you're a man, because this is apparently written for women. Number 5, I am not in a competition with my husband. Number 6, I'm called to be a peacekeeper, not a peacemaker. Number 7, being one is more important than being right. Number 8, having sex is not the same as making love. And number 9, thought number 9, if I'm not careful, we'll drift apart. These are 9 thoughts that can change your marriage from Focus on the Family. Like I said, I'll throw the entire list on our Facebook page, facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. And again, if you agree or if you disagree, you can chime in there and let us know. Do you agree with most of those?
I do.
I do too. I think it's a pretty good list. There's some of them that I think I would like to know a little more about. But again, overall, good list. Good list. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Friday.
Time now for the bonus break. Only available here on the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
And your bonus break is brought to you by WinThisOnline.com. We've got an awesome prize on there right now. It's a trip to the Mall of America. Now, you get yourself to the Mall of America, but once you get there, all the other stuff that's included, Nickelodeon Universe, Moose Mountain Mini Golf, and the Sky Bowl, a lot of fun stuff.
Yeah,
so
it's pretty cool.
It's a really neat thing. Would you like to win that prize?
I would love to win that prize.
Good news. We're going to win that prize. Now,
Sweet.
We're not really going to win the prize, but we've got some for us, too. We're going to go and check it out. Again, if you would like to win, go to WinThisOnline.com. You ready for the bonus break?
Absolutely.
The world's longest tunnel officially opened on Wednesday. It runs 35 miles underneath the Swiss Alps. Construction took 17 years and cost $12 billion. So There you go. 17 years. Donation flap puts Clinton on top right now. It would appear Donald Trump's failure to quickly get promised donations to veteran groups and blaming the media for asking about those donations has bumped the presidential frontrunner down just a notch. A new poll put presumptive Democratic nominee Hillary Clinton back on top for the race to the White House.
Whatever.
But it's by like 1 or 2 percentage points.
I'm sorry, but I don't believe that even
that's what the current polls are. It says Trump still has...
Where'd they do that poll? At her family reunion?
Probably. It just says Trump still has the barbecue vote, though. Asked who they would rather invite to the backyard barbecue, people chose Trump over Clinton, 47 to 39%.
Well, of course.
It's kind of like, yeah, and then there's still a gap there of 39. Let's see, that would be, 14% that wouldn't want to go with either of them? They're like, yeah, I don't want to. Thanks anyway. I'm not into barbecue. That's what it is. Hey, a store forced to put theft alarms.
You know who I'd invite?
Who's that?
Trey Gowdy.
Mm-hmm. I knew you would.
I would.
know that.
I like Trey Gowdy.
She's into Trey Gowdy. Maybe a little too much.
I really am.
She
I
has
want to
dreams
have a
about Trey
beer with
Gowdy.
him. No, I don't. That was Bill Frist.
You reach over and you're like fondling my hair and rough, like, oh, Trey Gowdy. I'm like, would you wake up? I'm not Trey Gowdy. I'm your husband. I'm John. Snap out of it. A store is forced to put theft alarms on adult diapers. This is a true story.
Oh, that's sad.
So many people have been stealing incontinence pads and adult diapers at a store in Scotland had to fit them with theft alarms.
Well, it's because they can't afford them.
Well, it's
That's
not
sad.
that. It's because they're embarrassed to buy them. Each tag has a special siren attached, which goes off
Boy,
if somebody
how
tries to...
It'd be even more
And
embarrassing.
then you pee your pants because, I needed these things.
I think that's really sad.
It is. But if somebody tries to steal them, then that goes off. And
That is a service that we could start.
there you go. See, I do like this.
Delivering adult diapers. to
Diaper
people.
delivery.
Yep.
Hey, a man jumped onto a car with a knife in his mouth. Let me explain this. The Florida Highway Patrol says an unidentified man jumped onto a woman's car as she drove down a highway Tuesday night. The man remained on the hood for about a mile, and he was holding a knife in his mouth until the woman saw troopers and pulled over. There was an altercation between the man and the troopers, and the trooper used a stun gun to subdue the man. The man was arrested and taken to the hospital for evaluation. What the heck was going on there? She drove for a mile with a dude on her hood. I guess if I was in the situation, I'm like, do you want to stop? I don't think I would want to stop either. But how safe is that to drive? And he had a knife in his mouth. I don't know. That's going to do it for our bonus break. Brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. No, that's us. Brought to you by WinThisOnline.com. I'm really losing my mind. Is it Friday? Can I go home now?
It is, yeah.
WinThisOnline.com, where the winning is just the beginning. Go check it out, sign up, and I'll see if we can make you a winner at WinThisOnline.com.